part two on Dogen. So talking about shikantaza, just sitting. So Zen Buddhism try to get back to, and particularly Dogen sect, Soto Zen, try to get back to the essence of what the Buddha talked about. They felt like at this point, in the 1200s, in Dogen's time, that people were moving too far away from the Buddha's original teachings and original inspiration and message, and so they wanted to bring it back. It was in India, it was getting really theoretical and really kind of heady, and they were losing touch with the practice. And actually, Buddhism all but died out in India, and Hinduism rose up again. So the Dharma went east through China, um, Chan, which then went further east into Korea and became San. These are the local nomenclature, and then into Japan and became Zen. And the Soto Zen school was really trying to get back to the essence. So the Shikantaza is a lot like the method of no method. Um, and really it's kind of an interim between, so you could start out with mindfulness of breathing, and then you kind of go to breath as anchor, and it's a bit more spacious, and then you kind of go into a whole body awareness, and that's more like Shikantaza, and then you could go into method of no method, which is, but Shikantaza is kind of beyond. These are just really subtle ideas, um, kind of beyond whole body awareness too, because really that is what's happening, but you're not thinking whole body awareness. There's no concept. You're just sitting. You're present in the moment, and you're not bringing anything else to it. And it's what makes Soto Zen unique from Rinzai Zen. Is in Soto Zen, it's you put 100% attention into your just sitting, into the posture, and let everything else kind of take care of itself. And not just sitting either, because the just um, applies to every part of your life. Just walking, just breathing, just whatever. Everything you do, to do it wholeheartedly like that. Um, but whereas Rinzai Zen have the koans or the kongans, um, which I'm not going to get into too much into this talk, but anyhow, the imponderable puzzles. What is the sound of hand clapping? Show me your face before your parents were born. Whereas Soto Zen is more about the practice, sitting, meditation. Um, yeah, so Dogen had a big impact on Zen. Not in his time, I don't think he was really fully understood, and there were a lot of warring Zen factions. And his first monasteries burnt down, and he had to go really far north into Japan in kind of an isolated area. And that was a hard life back in 12th century Japan. Like, I mean, there's no central heating, and these guys, it was really cold in northern Japan, and not an easy life. And these Zen practitioners, they're really hardcore. But anyways, Dogen was a big inspiration for generations that followed. Um, Soto Zen, I think, is really closely related to Pure Vipassana, where you're just sitting with everything that comes up and trying to gain wisdom from life, and it's really about the art of living, or living wisely, living well. Dogen, through his time, wrote a collection of treatises which he called the Shobogenzo, or the Treasury of the True Dharma Eye. And his writing is a little bit difficult because, as is a lot of Zen writing, because you're you're talking about things that really can't be captured conceptually. And so if you look at it and as conventional, if you think about it in a conventional way, it tends to be rather paradoxical and nonsensical. So you have to have kind of the right frame of mind to read it and understand it. Um, it's kind of like classical physics and quantum physics. Classical physics works very well up to a certain point, and then it completely breaks down. And it's very the clockwork universe. Whereas quantum physics is paradoxical and nonsensical, and it seems like it shouldn't. It doesn't make logical sense, but it has. No one could disprove it. Even Einstein couldn't disprove it. He spent the later part of his life trying to do so, because he said God does not play dice with the universe. And so that's kind of Zen writing is kind of like that. If you ever look at Dogen's writings, they're logically like on a conventional level of reality. They're a little bit difficult to work through. But he was really his stuff is there's a reason people connect with him today, and his work is quite profound, and he's been a big inspiration on me. A lot of it is very poetic as well, and there were a lot of these Zen monks that were poets, and I think it was Hakuin who used to leave poetry on trees, and and then it's obviously a colorful history. But that'll do it for now for my talks on Dogen.